Hey guys, Syma Chowdry here. We are in Windsor, Ontario. We're actually at a cannabis lounge, and with me is one of the co-owners. He is Jon Liedtke. So Jon, tell me a little bit about what's been going through your mind since last night's vote.
Well, I mean, huge news. Our Senate has passed the final vote for cannabis legalization. It's already cleared our House. There's no stopping cannabis legalization in Canada, coast to coast to coast. It will be legal in the middle of September. I am ecstatic. I'm shocked. I'm happy. I think it could have gone further, but this is just the beginning. There are now new places to go. We can fight for amnesty. We can fight for pardons. We can fight on a more minor level for edibles of cannabis. But this is a big deal. This is the first country in the G7 to legalize cannabis recreationally on a national level, and I'm proud to be Canadian today.
Well, tell me a little bit for people who don't know what exactly is a cannabis lounge and what have you guys been doing technically here and what do you hope to do?
So, Cannabis Lounge in Canada is a place where medical cannabis users have been able to come and consume their prescription, their cannabis, in public, with people that they know in a social setting. For too long, cannabis users have been forced to hide, to be stigmatized and ostracized, and we wanted to open up our lounge, Higher Limits, to give medical cannabis users a safe space to consume their medication. At the same time, we are open to the public at large. We want to reduce that ostracization and that stigmatization by having people here in public. We've brought in entertainment and acts as a way to, just create a fun, entertaining space, because just because someone's a medical user doesn't mean that they should be stuck at home taking their medication all day long. So we've had Jackass to Trailer Park Boys to Super Troopers here, and we're going to continue to roll out entertainment. We have a fee, $5, which lets you come in. We have use of vaporizers. We have bongs that we rent out. We have a full store, but we're looking towards now with legalization the opportunity to have sales on site. I'd like to be able to, just like you go to a restaurant or a bar and buy a pint of beer, a glass of wine, maybe a shot of whiskey, you should be able to come into Higher Limits and buy a pre-rolled joint or a bong that's filled with cannabis, or maybe a brownie that's infused with THC one day. This is where we see things going, and we're very excited. We've been open now for 2.5 years, and since we've opened, we've had 80,000 people come through our doors. That makes us one of the largest tourist drivers in the region, quite frankly, and we're really looking forward to seeing that number increase. We know that in America, in Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, there are 7.5 million cannabis users who self-identify, and that's in a prohibitionary framework right now. We expect that some of you 7.5 million people might want to come to Windsor and say hi, because you'll be able to experience cannabis on a fully national level, which means not just cannabis from Ontario, but from all of our provinces and territories that produce, as well as jurisdictions which allow for Canada to import cannabis. So, in terms of diversity, you're going to be able to see far more cannabis in Canada than you've probably ever seen before on a legal level, and we're really excited.
Let me ask you, before I ask you the next question, you had said that you were trying to make this place for the general population and a fun place. So yes. You guys don't sell alcohol out here, but you have food, snacks, you obviously have
munchies?
Munchies, bongs, wrappers that you were...
Bongs, rolling papers.
And you guys have like an arcade.
Full-scale arcade. We have an education workshop in the front there where we can hold 30 students. We're planning on rolling out a bit of a school format, but we've also got downtown campuses, so we know that students they're coming in here on a daily basis, and they're plopping down, pulling out their laptops, using our high-speed internet, and treating this almost like a library. It's there's 4 different campuses in the downtown core, so we love to serve our student population.
Well, you were saying that the people who have medical marijuana cards, they may live in places, like you said, dorms, where they still can't use it. So that's why a place like this has been necessary.
Absolutely. So with right now under the medical framework and moving onto the legalization framework, there's going to be people who won't be allowed to legally consume their product at their homes. The only place you're really going to be able to do it is a private residence, but unfortunately, students who live in dormitories aren't going to be able to consume. Homeless people who spend nights in shelters can't do it in shelters. People who live in long-term care facilities, people who who live in retirement facilities, even people who live in condominiums and apartments are finding that their policies are being changed to prohibit them from being able to smoke any cannabis inside their residence, on their balcony, on the entire perimeter of their property. So a space like Higher Limits is incredibly important. We expect to see more cannabis lounges opening up in the future because, let's be honest, when they're legalizing cannabis, you're going to need a place for these people to consume it. Not to mention tourists, as I mentioned.
Well, I was just about to say, and are you expecting a lot of Michiganders to come over the border?
We absolutely are expecting a lot of our friendly neighbors from Michigan to come over, check it out, to consume some legal cannabis. I expect they'll go to the cannabis store, purchase some, and then ask, where can I go consume this legally? Or they'll go to a park and, potentially take a risk at getting a ticket. So from a logical perspective, there is such a need for these cannabis facilities. As I said, we've already had over 80,000 people come through this space. We expect that this number is going to increase dramatically through legalization. And with those 7.5 million Americans, please, I implore you, I'd love to meet you all.
And so tell me a little bit about, this is actually, I don't know if you know this, this is going to be on our ballot in November. So whether it passes or not in November, by mid-September,
it'll be legal here.
It'll be completely legal here. So what do you hope to see? Do you hope to see that the U.S. follows? I mean, I know it doesn't affect you as a Canadian, but do you hope to see that the U.S. follows in your suit, or the Canadian suit, or are you guys hoping that maybe we don't, and then the tourism will be greater here? I don't know. I'm just asking, picking your brain.
No, so it's a great question. So my coming into this industry has always been from a medical cannabis user's perspective, and I believe that medical cannabis rights and cannabis rights should be expanded broadly in all jurisdictions. So I do hope that in Michigan in November that, Michiganders go and they vote in droves to legalize cannabis. On the bigger scale, I really do hope that one day your country, the United States, can get to a point of seeing cannabis legalized. I see a lot of impediments. I see a lot of impediments to getting there, whether it be from elected officials to bureaucratic agencies that are already put in place to just, your citizenry at large who are not necessarily fully on board. But the economic benefits are far too big to ignore. And I think that after looking at what happens here in Canada over the next year and a half, 2 years, the numbers will be far too big to ignore. But also from a human rights perspective, it's unjust, it's inhumane, and it's, quite frankly, in my opinion, criminal to be locking someone up in a cage for a plant. It makes no sense in the year 2018, especially a plant that is known to have medical benefits. And we are facing some of the highest opioid epidemics that we're seeing on both sides of the border right now. And we know that cannabis is traditionally used as a gateway drug out of an opioid epidemic. And a lot of people the prohibitionists try to say that cannabis leads you into a journey of darkness with other drugs. But quite frankly, what we see here at Higher Limits, what we hear anecdotally speaking with other people in this industry, is that cannabis is often used as a substitution effect to get people off of hard and dangerous drugs like opioids and fentanyl and really dangerous things that can kill you and lead you to a better life. So we're going to continue to fight for cannabis rights here in Canada. By no means does legalization mean that it's over for us. We want to see amnesty. We'd like to see pardons. We'd like to see more sensible policies on a broader scale. But we'll continue fighting for cannabis rights on a global scale as well, just advocating, pressuring for it, and just continuing to talk about it. Because as attitudes change, we can move to a point where things are different. It takes conversations like these to be able to figure out what's your headspace at, where's my headspace at. And I think that through those conversations, and again, looking to see, has the sky fallen in Canada a year from now? No, it won't fall. All that's going to happen is we're going to have better schools, we're going to have better roads, we're going to have better hospitals, we're going to have better education systems, and we're going to have better cannabis too, quite frankly, because under a legal system it can become better, there can be more research into it. So I hope one day to see it legalized across the globe.
All right, thank you so much. And we're going to have more on this story coming up at 6 o'clock, and just follow my Facebook or Twitter page. I'll have some updates along the way as well. Thanks, guys.